First of all, just to check, post the match the other day, is everybody okay?
Yeah, everyone's in pretty good condition, really, to be honest. Been quite fortunate from that point of view, not just this week, over the course of our busy schedule. So that's always been a positive, regardless of results or how it's looked or whatever. Our squad over the course of the season is always been in a decent place. Yes, one or two, that are carrying a couple of bits, but that's natural for any squad. Yes, one or two have had longer ones like a Georgie or like a Josh Earl, but in the main, we've been quite fortunate.
Yes. Well, just on Gent, then, is he in a position where he can sort of back up games now?
Yeah, we're hoping so. We're hoping so. I think he's got to that stage now. There was talks about in and around January, would he go out and kind of get some minutes? I think at the time, Josh obviously was injured as well, so there was a little bit of a cautious approach around that. Obviously, we decided not to go for it, and it just shows, and it's probably a really good message to the squad how quickly it can change. You can feel like you're a little bit out of the picture, and all of a sudden, if you conduct yourself properly and do the right things, you can be in the team before you know it. And now it's his opportunity to kind of keep moving forward with that position and go from strength to strength, really.
Because he'll bring a natural balance to that part of the pitch, won't he?
Yeah, he'll bring strength that others may not have, and then others bring strengths that maybe Georgie might not have. So I think from the position over the last few weeks before Georgie played against Peterborough, Tenai Watson's been doing it, and he's been doing it pretty well. And he defensively is probably his first thought process, which brings you a little bit more of an approach in and around the box in terms of his marking and whatnot. But then Georgie will bring you that natural balance, being left-footed, can attack that probably a little bit more. So yeah, people bring different elements of the game, but having Georgie firing and fit and ready, and hopefully he can keep moving from strength to strength, is going to be a positive.
I suppose this might be a regular question from here on in, but in terms of when you're deciding what to do at Huddersfield at the weekend and for matches going forward, particularly when it's Saturday, Tuesday, and all of that, is team selection this weekend going to be influenced by fatigue, all those little knocks and niggles that might become serious ones if we play, and it's better to keep them fresh for a later date?
Yeah, I think it's finding the balance of it, really. I think, look, one thing that we've got in our favour this week that probably doesn't happen to us very regularly is that we don't have a Tuesday game to think about. So, team selection for Saturday may be influenced a little bit. If we had another game on Tuesday and think, oh, he's struggling a little bit, we might have to keep him fresh for Tuesday or whatever. We don't have that this weekend, which is a positive. So lads who may be going into games with a little bit of, lack of a little bit of an energy or a little bit of carrying something, can we put a big performance in before a couple of days where we'll just be on the grass and we can manage the knocks then through the week. So it's a Yorkshire derby and there's going to be a good atmosphere and a good way of following. So regardless of any kind of lack of energy or kind of knocks, we need to see past that now, and we need to get ready for a really good game on Saturday.
And Huddersfield, then, they've obviously been through it a little bit at times, changed the manager, etc. So what are you expecting from them as a challenge this weekend?
Yeah, a tough test. They're at home, and no doubt they'll try and come out of the blocks and put their last couple of results right. I think from our point of view, concentrating on us right now is really important. My biggest thing that I want to see out of the game on Saturday is the last couple of times we've gone to a top six club, we've kind of not performed. So we've performed second half against Bolton, but that was when the game was kind of gone and we had nothing to lose. But we've gone to Cardiff and struggled, if we're being honest. We went to Bolton and struggled in the first half. I really want to see a better performance against top six side come Saturday.
Is that a mindset thing for this group of players against teams such as that, or is it, look, Cardiff, etc., they've just got better players?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Bolton and Cardiff are obviously really good sides, and they've got kind of a squad of players that they can chop 4 or 5 and look the exact same. Huddersfield are a really good team and a really good side as well. There's no getting away from that. But I definitely think from our point of view now it is a mindset game. It is a game that we have to go in with a lot of intensity, a lot of energy, meet their physicality, and then can we be ourselves and be good on the ball then as well.
Yes, well, in part that Liam, from my knowledge, which clearly is not unlimited, but has built a pretty successful start to his career playing a certain way. This idea of manning ball, possession-based football. Are you expecting something similar this weekend?
I think it's probably in the little bit of both. Watching them, I think he wants get his good players on the ball, and they've looked like a 3-4-3 or 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it, 5 at the back over the last couple of games, and they've got some really good players that can hurt you, but they're quite solid as well, and they've no issues with going that little bit more direct. So I think they're trying to find that balance of in possession and out possession that makes it work for them. Obviously, it's already in his tenure, and we could be sitting here, this time next year, we're both in the same league, and it looks a completely different side because he's had a pre-season and whatever. But he obviously hasn't had loads of time to change things. So right now he's probably trying to find a little bit of a balance in between in and out possession that works for him.
In terms of that free week next week, what are your priorities?
I think the priority right now is the weekend, and we'll deal with the free week next week. It's nice that we have a free week. We don't have them very regularly. After that free week, we won't have many again. But right now, the only focus is to get ready for Huddersfield.
And just looking at it, from an attack perspective, the statistics are terrific, aren't they? From a defense, it's completely the opposite from the defensive side of things. Some coaches bristle at the idea that they are entertaining. I suppose it's just about screwing it down on one end and keeping it going at the other.
Exactly that. I think I wouldn't swap the attacking intent at all, because I love it and I want to, us to score goals, and I want us to play good football. But we just need to keep it a little bit, down, or a little bit less so from the defensive point of view in terms of the opposition attacking against us. Again, against Peterborough, the game was a little bit open. They had a couple of chances. We need to manage the moments a little bit better, and that will be done this morning. And then obviously, look, if they get in on your back line and they have opportunities, you're looking for your goalkeeper to make some stops, and he definitely did that on Tuesday night at big moments.
And just finally then, in that, as the season rolls on, I wonder if that might prove to be a penny drop moment for some of the players, and the fact that it wasn't working in a certain way, changes and tweaks were made to how depressed in the second half, and all of a sudden it bore some kind of results. So, whether that was a penny drop moment for them.
Yeah, we'll see. We hope so. We're always looking for that penny drop moment where you can go on a bit of a run and get that consistently going that little bit more. I think meetings are always important in terms of post matches, win, lose or draw. They're always so important to try and improve and get better. And this morning's going to be no different. So yeah, look, I think it was a really good result on Tuesday. We probably didn't play as good on the ball second half as what I would like. We created some chances and scored a really good goal, but I did make a point going into the game. Our out possession is going to have to be very, very good against a team like Peterborough, who can make you feel really uncomfortable, and we definitely got that right in the second half. Thank you. Cheers.
Hi, Conor. You mentioned Owen Goodman there, obviously pleased with his performances. Obviously quite an important game for him going back to the club that he spent the first half of the season with. Do you feel like he just needs to treat that as any game and any other game, and just he's going into it in a good place?
Yeah, exactly that, yeah. He made some really good stops on Tuesday night at key times. I remember 2 off the top of my head when one of their strikers, Peterborough's, got in and he's made a good save. 1-on-1, and he's got that big moment in him because he's got a big frame, and then they got in behind our back line for another one, and the lad could have had a tap in, but he kind of came out and spread himself really well. So 2 big moments at 2 key times, and yeah, like I said, just treating it like any normal game.
You've got Chirera as well, who played for them last season. Is he potentially going to be back involved? Or
No, that will be next week, Doug. He's having treatment on his ankle injury. Had a little bit of a setback in terms of this game just coming a little bit too quick for him. Hoping to have him on the grass and helping the squad out leading into Leyton Orient.
Yeah, and kind of touched on this the other night, but obviously from the outside, obviously Huddersfield 6th, plenty of games in hand. Some people might look at it and say, oh, if they win there, then the gap really closes. But it sounds like you're sort of more looking at internal things within the team that you want to see better, rather than sort of looking too much at the league table at this
stage. No, it's about us getting better, improving, with and without the ball constantly. The league table is kind of no interest to me right now. People obviously can talk about it and discuss where we are, and we're middle of the table and whatnot. But right now it's an internal work to get better, individually and collectively.
Can you take positives from the win against them at home? That's probably one of the best, up there with the better performances of the season, but it's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, Doug. Different personnel, different feel, different managers for them. They've been a back five the last couple of games. That time when we played at Huddersfield, they were a back four. So, different moment completely.
I guess you mentioned it a few times, that away form just would be nice. What better place to get your first win on the road for a while?
Yeah, but it would be lovely. It would be lovely. But look, I'm sure it will come. And it will come with the work and the improvement and trying to get better as a team and individually. We've got 2 away games now in a row, Huddersfield and Leyton are in 2 different types of games. One's obviously in the top 6 and going for that kind of promotion, and obviously Leyton Orient are at the other side of the table. So 2 different teams, and the full concentration is on Huddersfield firstly.
I don't know if you know, but it'll be your 50th game as Barnsley head coach, including the few interim matches. Obviously, a milestone to tick off. I mean, it's obviously feels like it's gone pretty quick. How would you sort of sum up the 50 ends? Obviously, lots have happened, and what have you learned and maybe changed as a coach throughout?
I've learned a lot, Doug, to be fair, and that's for sure. 50 up is, like you said, is gone pretty quickly. There's been some tough moments in there, and there's been some challenges. There's been some good moments as well with some of the games that we've won and how we've played and whatnot. We'd be here all day if I was going to kind of go into how things have changed for me, or how the team has changed, or how the team looks. Last year, taking the team in them 10 games were difficult because, not really loads of time to change loads. Obviously, a manager has just lost his job at the time, which is not easy as well. And, our personnel in the dressing room is completely different now. So, really enjoyed the pre-season part of it and trying to get your team playing the way that you want to play and really focusing on that. We've tried to stay in and around the principles as much as we can over the course of the season. And that has kind of changed a little bit as well. And you're constantly evolving. But I feel like we're in a position now where I know that I want to play with wingers, and I know I want to play with a back four. And sometimes over the course of the season, you have moments where you go to a back five just to make yourself a little bit more solid. We did that for a little stage as well. But I've been openly enough to say that I didn't like watching the team in times. Like I said, loads. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Wanted to change the home look in terms of, the fans haven't seen as many home performances and home results over the course of maybe previous times, and we've managed to change that around. But we've obviously lost the factor of, the away form as well. So can we find that balance where we're performing well at home and picking up some good results on the road as well?
And obviously, you'll keep learning throughout your career, even if you do sort of 500 games, I guess. But do you think that sort of thrown in the deep end sort of element, it will be a grounding, I guess, for your coaching career this first year or so that you've had?
Yeah, exactly. And look, I've wanted to win more games that I've had. I think the fans have been terrific. The players have been really, really good, particularly the ones that, were here in pre-season, and the squad that we've kind of built the base from. I think they've been outstanding, to be fair to them. We've been really unfortunate in games. We've been a little bit naive in games where we've lost games early on and struggled to get back. But look, it's not from the want to trying. Really passionate about my job, really passionate about being a head coach, really hungry to be a successful one. And I'm really enjoying my time here while it's continuing.
Great, thanks, Conor.
Cheers.
Right, I kind of hope you're well. I've not got too many. I was just thinking, I get your point about the league table, but you'll know whether you say, if we get 2 or 3 wins, you should be okay. And then you start to sort of think about maybe putting 1 or 2 more young players and having a look at them if they're ready, stuff like that. I mean, that's part of your remit, isn't it, the developmental side? Yeah,
I think probably the next kind of 10, 12 games or so would probably tell a lot on what we're doing. Like you said there, probably 3 wins or so more, and then obviously we'll move forwards into the mid-table mark, and do we want to push on even further? And like I said, that the next 10, 12 games will probably tell a lot from that point of view. So then obviously we'll look to certain individuals in terms of, developing players and helping them get minutes and, one that sticks out in my head straight away is Charlie Lennon, who's been on the bench 3 or 4 times and not managed to get on the pitch because the games have been so tight in certain scenarios. So yeah, look, let's speak about that in the next 10 or 12 games. Let's see where we're really going to be, and then that remit about developing players even further might come in as well.
Your experience has probably taught you there's also a time to play young players, and there's also a time to maybe lead them out as well. You've sort of done that a little bit of late as well.
Yeah, I think that's been important. I think there's moments in games where you feel like it needs a little bit of a senior head, in moments in games where you feel like young lads can be let off the leash. Currently, for example, Jonathan Bland is out with the team, and I felt like he needed a little bit of a rest because he played a lot of minutes, and he was kind of getting through games rather than really bringing his energy and intensity into games that he did probably earlier on in the season. Charlie Lennon at the minute is probably waiting for his scenario to come on the pitch. The other night, was it a case of taking off Reyes and bringing him on the pitch, or was it a case of using Mal and pushing Corey on further forward, that little bit more experience at a key time? So they're the decisions that you make, and they're the decisions that you live and die by. Over the last little period, we feel like we've been getting them little decisions correct. It mightn't hinder the results, but for example, the one on Tuesday to bring Mal on rather than Charlie Lennon, look, you come through and you get the result, and it looks like a positive one.
You talked about the importance of going to some of these leading teams and starting well at this time of season as well. I mean, Woodrow Huddersfield side, but lost the last 2 games. They haven't produced a shot on target. Could be a little bit of edginess there as well. That could, if you start well, that could sort of play into your hands a little bit as well. Yeah,
potentially so, but we need to make sure that we start games correctly. I think going back to, again, the biggest thing I want to see on Saturday is a better performance against a top 6 side. Cardiff made it really hard for ourselves, Bolton made it really hard for ourselves. Can we create that momentum in the game? And it turns into a little bit of anxiousness and animosity in and around the crowd, because look, the expectation will be on them to go and take the game away from us. So let's see how it pans out, but I'm really hoping for a better performance than the last 2 previous away games against some of the better sides.
Those little clusters of goals that you sort of considered one, and then you considered another not so long after, you had the Bolton and Cardiff. That as a head coach, that must grade you a little bit as well. That's it's frustrating when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, that is frustrating, of course. But again, hoping for a little bit of an improvement from Tuesday. We managed to do that a little bit. Went 1 down, come back, and obviously ultimately ended up winning the game. But I think second half, particularly managing it really well and giving the right information at half time and helping the lads out. And look, that's my job. There's sometimes when half times have come along and I look back at the end result and go, have I helped the lads enough there in that scenario? But I definitely felt like we all got it right on Tuesday night, which is good.
I just feel actually find it's a bit of a general question. It's a bit social league related. I mean, the fans now, I've never seen so many where there's real highs when you win a few, and when you lose a few, they're the worst team in the world sort of thing. I mean, I've had that with Huddersfield recently. They won the first 2 home games. Now they've lost 2 away games on the trot, and they're the worst team ever sort of thing. And what do you advise your players? Do you advise them not to go onto it, or is it up to them? Because it really is feast or famine, and it's just all over the place. It seems to me.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of world we're living in now. Everyone gets so excited about something, and then if something goes wrong, it's like doom and gloom constantly. If it affects players, and I'm not saying about just my players, any players, don't go on it, don't look at it. If you can handle it because it's toxic and it's chaotic, then by all means go for it. It's completely how you see it. But from my point of view, win, lose or draw, social media, frenzies or negativity, it's really, really irrelevant. It's people have their own mindset and their own thoughts on it, and about anything, by the way. And my biggest thing is always being, emotionally in control, speak about it a lot, and never high when we win, never low when we lose. How can we get better? How can we improve? How can I push players? How can I, keep asking the players to be better on and off the pitch? And I think probably, birthday, my birthday's just been, for example, and people get excited about their birthdays and get presents, and it's so I never, it's something that I never get too excited about. If I got something new, my wife says to me all the time, she goes, "You never get excited." I'm like, "No, I don't really, to be honest with you. I'm very calm. And if someone doesn't want to get me a birthday present, I won't get too low about that either. So we just crack on and keep moving forward."
Yeah, because that's part of the manager. You're aware of it as well. You know, you've got to blank out the noise a bit as well, haven't you?
Exactly that, and people will say, "Oh, people are probably saying, oh, it's a bit boring, isn't it?" But no, it keeps you in a good mindset. Trust me, because you don't get too irate about stuff, and you don't get too high about stuff either. So, yeah, it's a really important element to my coaching is in being really consistent emotionally, and lads will know when I get that little bit frustrated, and then when you get a little bit irate with them, because you don't do it all the time, it doesn't become white noise. It kind of hits home a little bit, and then you get a reaction off them. That's just the way I see it. Everyone's different, and yeah, I like to be controlled constantly in terms of however the day-to-day business looks.